Hi everyone, today we're sewing the Zoe dress. It's a dress that comes in two versions. You have a sleeveless version, which is this one. I made a miniature to film the tutorial. And the raglan sleeve version, which is the one that's here, and this is the one that we're going to be sewing in this video. So for this project, I partnered with the House of Textiles. It's an online fabric store that specializes in, I'd say, statement fabrics. They have a unique selection of embroidered, beaded, sequined, embossed fabrics, which honestly I find wonderful. They have such a tasteful selection. If you're looking for fabric to make a gown for wedding dress, or if you're invited to a wedding, I really suggest that you keep them in your favorites. I think the color selection is really good, particularly. Anyways, they are giving you guys a 10% discount. The code is ISA10. You can use this code as many times as you want. This video is sponsored, but whenever you use the code, there is no affiliation that's coming to me. Okay. So for this project, they offered me to pick a fabric, and I picked this pink and golden embroidered fabric, which is, I think it's a kind of organza, and organza means it's transparent, which, I don't know, it hadn't clicked in my mind that I was going to sew some transparent fabric. Actually, organza is not very hard to work with. It's not slippery, it's not unstable. It's just the fact that you have to take into account the transparency when you're sewing, so you might want to do French seams instead of just overlocking the seams. I'd still overlock the seams, and also, you know, in terms of wearability, it kind of changes some stuff. But anyways, you can take organza if you want to make this project. Generally speaking, you want a woven, non-stretchy fabric that's got a bit of crisp, right? We want the fabric to stand so that the sleeves are standing and are puffing the way that they should. I recommend simply that you pick a nice poplin. That's as simple as that, a nice cotton poplin. Let's talk about the level for a second. I think this dress is going to be for intermediate sewists. It's actually not a very difficult project. If I show you the back, you can see that the closure system in the back is not very sophisticated. We don't have buttons, we don't have a zipper. It's a tie-up system here. The difficulty lies more in the fact that those panels, it's a lot of fabric. Just for this size, which is the smallest, I needed 3.5 meters of fabric. So it's a lot of fabric to manipulate, and it's a lot of fabric to gather. Oh my gosh, I thought I was gonna lose patience. If you are new to PDF sewing patterns, please have a look at my introductory video, which is going to explain to you how to download patterns from Etsy, how to print them, which software to use, what are the different printing formats that I give you guys, what's an A4, what's a US letter, what's A0, how to pick your size. The sound is not good. I don't know, I fucked up with the sound, but you're going to learn a lot of things if you're new to PDF patterns. Let's start sewing. All right, so to begin with, I'll show you the pieces of the pattern. So we have the back cut twice with the little back ties here. Back facing, front facing, this is the front here. Sleeves, sleeve bands for which you will need elastics. Middle panel, it's actually cut narrower than it should be because I didn't have enough fabric. The pockets, which I ended up not using because the fabric is transparent and the pockets didn't look good. And below the three bottom panels. Let's start by making the dots. So in my case, because the fabric was transparent and because I have very small boobs, I didn't have to make dots, so I didn't make them. But I'm going to show you the footage of the other version of the dress, the sleeveless one, and how I made the dots for it. So now let's go back to our organza fabric. We'll take care of the sleeves, which are the statement part of this dress. I'm going to take my pattern piece because there are lots of annotations on there. You want to carefully transfer the notches. And if you can mark them with an erasable pen, you could also number them directly on the fabric and even draw the arrows. All this with an erasable pen only, of course. All right, let's take care of the pleats that are going to be at the neck. So you want to start by folding pleat number 1, and then you go to pleat number 2, and so on. All right, that's pleat number A. We move on to pleat number 2. B to B. That way, on top of the... Wait, the B is here. B is here? Yeah. There you go. Top. Put some pins here. Okay, now we have pleat C. This is the one at the tip, going to same as B, like this, from here to here. Merci. Merci de demander. Là, je suis pas en train de... Like this. Okay. C, number 3, number 4. This go over to here. So for the opposite sleeve, you're gonna have to turn your paper pattern to the side that's not printed on, okay? And you have to transfer the pleat details, the arrows and the numbers. So take the sleeve in paper, put it against your window, and then take a pen and mark everything. We're going to make the little ties, take the fabric strips, and you're going to fold it like this and press down with your hot iron. Then you fold it in two and you press down again. For the tip, we're folding like this, sewing just the tip. Then you turn it inside out and you sew all along. And this is what I get once I've made the two ties. Before we add the bodice to the sleeves, let's take the back parts and overlock them at the center back. Then I take the front and I pin it to the sleeves. Use the notches to know which side of the raglan sleeve goes to the front or the back. And I also pin the back bodice. I sew respecting 1 centimeter of seam allowance, as it's always the case with my patterns. And I'll finish the edges with my overlocker. Now let's concentrate on the back, but this time we're going to pin the two back parts right sides together, and we're going to sew from the notch till the bottom. It's time to add the facings. So I'm realizing that adding the facings to this transparent fabric is not going to look good. So I'm going to show you how to sew the facings, but then I'm going to take it away and do another type of finishing. Alors, take your facing and you're going to sew the front and the back facings together at the shoulders. Press the seam allowance open. We're going to overlock the outer edge of the facing. Once this is done, we're going to pin the facing to the neck hole of the bodice, right sides together. Sew all around the neck. We're not going down the back facing yet because we need to insert our ties first. So I'm just showing you here that I started the seam at the back of the neck 1 centimeter away from the edge because I'm respecting the seam allowance. And now I pin the ties, and I'm just showing you on the side of the facing how you'll do it. So you stick out the seam allowance of the center back of the bodice, and you're going to sew the facing down to the seam allowance. You'll trim the seam allowance at the corners up there and around the neck. And then you're going to understitch the facing to the seam allowance around the neck, and also you will top stitch the facing at the back opening. So because I couldn't add facing, this is what we'll do. For the back, I'm just going to top stitch the seam allowance. For the neck hole, I get bias tape and I'm just going to sandwich the raw edges with it. I fold inwards and I sew again. I'm not showing how to add the pockets in this tutorial, but I'm showing it in the other tutorial, the one which is the sleeveless version of this dress, so go to it if you want to see. I take the middle panels, I'll gather the top edge, the curved one. You want to make sure you made a notch in the middle, and actually I would suggest you make notches to indicate the quarters. So the middles of the middle, take the bodice, pin the gathered middle panels right sides together, sew and finish the edges. All right, this is what we have now. What I'm going to do is turn this inside out like that. And I'm going to first finish the edge here and here. Second, close the sides and finish the edge. And I'll see you after. Okay, we have 3 big lower panels. You want to mark the middle and the quarters, and then you gather, and you do this for all 3. Once it's done, we'll sew them together so they create a sort of loop. Finish the edges and press down. Let's go to the bodice and let's have a look at the notches containing the lower panels. Pin right sides together, pull the gathers, pin, pin, pin. So I did it in several rounds, like I pinned the first panel and I sewed the first panel and then I moved on to the next one. Alright, so this was done, this was done, this was done, and here is the last third, covered in pins. And now I'm going to go ahead and I'm sewing, and after that I'll be finishing the edges with the overlocker. I am finishing the sleeves right now for some reason. Get the sleeve band, fold right sides touching, sew. Let's press it down. I fold to mark the middles. I pin. And I sew, leaving an opening at armpit. I'm cutting a 28 centimeter long piece of elastic. I'm suggesting a length for the elastic, but you have to check it on yourself, see if it's comfortable, okay? Safety pin. And I close the band. And I also ended up top stitching the band. Now you want to try the dress on and shorten it if you want. Then we make the hem. For this purpose, just finish the edges. And fold and sew. And that's it. We're done with the dress. I hope you liked it. If you make it and share it on social, use the hashtag ZoeDIYDress. And take care and see you soon for another project. Kiss. Bye.